the key is always give value, right? Like I always think, I think about relationship capital. It's a bank. And you always want to put in more deposits than you take out, right? And so to me, if I... How do you kind of stay in touch with people? I also think that's the good part about posting on social media is that it's more people come inbound, meaning like if I haven't caught up with someone, I'll usually get a note from them because they do see me posting or things are happening. Like there's a certain group of people that I make time for, but it's more personal. Like my network type people that I try to make time for, it's much more situational. So there's no like set path of like, I have like a running list. Hey, I'm in New York. Start to keep tally of here's the people I want to meet with next time that I'm in New York.
That's cool, man. Well, look, you're
in New York, right? By the way,
I'm in Austin right now. So we opened up a second office here in Austin about almost exactly a year ago. We moved here to hire out kind of marketing, content, sales. We still have a lot of our consultants in New York, and we have a bunch remote, but we opened this office up down here. Just scaling is just a lot easier when you're not doing it in Soho. It's been a good move for us and for our family too. I have two children, so it's a much different scale, but it's been a great adjustment. I'll be back. I'm going back to New York tonight, so I spend a good amount of time there still. So it's a win-win for me.
But I try to have a lot more digital interaction. Like that to me is it's so much easier than trying to have, some like meeting with people as much like face-to-face. And I think a lot of it's just like, look, if some random person pops in your head, I'll just send them a quick text or a DM. Hey, what's up, man? Hope everything's going okay. Or they pop up in your LinkedIn feed or something. Oh, hey, interesting, comment on their post. So I don't really have like a set thing other than if I'm gonna be in a city, I know I have a group of people I wanna meet with, just cataloging those. But I think that's the best you can do. I don't think there's some magic pill for it.
I think the size and scope of network you can build today is just unparalleled, right? Because of online, right? Like you used to be able to only build kind of a network in your local area or like in a space, and now because of Instagram, LinkedIn, you can build the size of network you can build is just disproportionate to what you could ever do before.
For me, networking, is less about networking events, and I think that's the other thing to distinguish. Like for me, the most valuable networking is the one-to-one networking, as opposed to necessarily like big, large networking events. And so I think it's really important for people to start to like decouple that concept. That when we say the term networking, I think a lot of, well, at least my head, I don't want to speak for other people, my head goes to networking events. And that for me always just poisoned the word networking for me. And then when I started the company, it's like, I had a random coffee with a guy on a Tuesday, and that led to a company that ended up doing almost $1.5 million with us from a random coffee that he introduced us to, 4 months later, right? And that really just opened my eyes on taking more and more meetings and just networking with more people. And I look back now, and it's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my mid to late 20s is I didn't invest enough time in building my network and being very purposeful about, like what did I want my network to look like, and who did I want to meet, and just having conversations and using their experience to help me kind of cheat a little bit, like helping me to, suck out the experience of all these other people that I could tap.
I did it my own, and like, what are they gonna know that I don't know? And so then I probably made mistakes that if I had tapped my network then, even the people that I already had in my network, that I might have been able to avoid.
What happened when I started the company, I said, I'm just gonna start having random coffees with people.
Yeah, I think it was really difficult to build a presence outside of your local community other than doing those things. You go and you meet local business unit leaders, etc. So I did a lot of that. I go, like when I was in Tampa, I had relationships with the St. Pete Downtown Partnerships, the Tampa Downtown Partnerships, and so I would look for those groups that were connectors within that world that I sold into. And so I think that was kind of like 1.0, and it's only been, LinkedIn has, it's been around for a while, but it's only been more of a social networking platform as opposed to a recruitment platform for 3-4 years going on 2 years. So I think getting connected in the local community is something that everyone should do. It's something I know we're focused on, now that we're here in Austin as well. But LinkedIn is a networking event every day, 24/7, wherever you want to be.
Do you think that having a large presence on LinkedIn has usurped the value of in-person events?
That's tough. I think it's both. I mean, and it's also the quality of the event, right? It's like, who are the people that are going to be there? What's the quality of the people talking? So it's tough to say one size fits all. I would say, I think what I can do is maybe I can rewind. I can tell you a little bit about my journey to get to this point too, of just like where we're at.
If you're looking to get in front of an SVP or a C-level who might be there, hit me up on LinkedIn ahead of time. Ask if I can grab coffee with you for 10, 15 minutes. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe not. Hey, we're hosting this event. Why don't you come through? Great.
Yeah.
I had like 3 or 4 people who hit me up. I'm like, great. Hey, we're hosting this event. Hit me up. And people just show up and expect networking to happen. Like they're not being as proactive like as they should be. There's just so much money that we leave on the table. The key is always give value, right? Like I always think, I think about relationship capital. It's a bank, and you always want to put in more deposits than you take out, right? And so to me, if I've asked someone twice, I better come up with some ways to start to give them some value, 100%. With those people, have you deposited in their bank, or you just continue to take withdrawals? Because then that's when they don't want to be your acquaintance anymore. If you're constantly depositing in other people's banks, you can ask as money as frequently as you want, right? Because you'll be happy to, because I just did something, I gave you value, Like same thing with friends, right? Like it's the same thing too. It's like, what can I do to add value? If you do for other people, and it really is that you have to think. I think of it's at least a 2. So I'd say sometimes up to like a 5-to-1 ratio of asks to gives, meaning like for every ask, it actually takes out the equivalent of like 2 of your 3 of your deposits. It's not 1 for 1. It's not like when you ask someone for something, or you have a tough conversation with someone, it eliminates 7 amazing conversations that you had. I don't know what the exact ratio is, but like the impact of 1 negative conversation, of 1 ask, is certainly not 1-to-1 on give or positive.
My quote unquote audience is 23 times smaller than yours. And I've already noticed oh man, I can't let this DM go. I can't let this
I answer every single DM.
Yeah, exactly. There's a level of dedication that goes into making it count.
Well, there's a difference. I think there's a difference between your network and your audience. Yes. Meaning audience is a much broader group of people than who's your network. For me, the network is more people I'm tight with, relationships I want to grow and foster. The audience is more reactive, hey Jake, I have a question, etc. And so letting them know that I'm there to engage, and I'm there to offer practical advice. So for me, I think that's how I look at it, is there's a big difference between your network and your audience. And so one is about audience building and what's the activities that go into that. And then the other is about what's my professional network, what's my
and at
brand
a certain
network.
point though, your audience shouldn't necessarily be able to tell that they're not a part of your network, right? You want them to feel
yeah, as much as you can, yeah, for sure. I would actually argue I probably communicate more with the people in the audience than I do with the people that are a VC at a top fund that refers us clients.
How often is it appropriate to ask for a favor or for something from one of your contacts? I think it probably depends.
Yeah, it does. It depends on the strength of the connection. If you're my boy, I'll ask you as many times as I want. You know what I mean? But if you're a casual acquaintance, I think once a quarter. Yeah, once a quarter, once every 3-4 months. So I think the idea that it goes back to some of the conversations we've had, where this idea of building a professional brand, building a network, building an audience, this never goes away as long as you nurture it, ever. So that network just continues to grow and grow and snowball as their network gets exposed to you and that network gets exposed to you.